Hey guys, I'm Elliot. This is Everything Elliot, and I've got a problem with my wood stove. Not so much the wood stove itself, but burning firewood for heat in my house. And that problem is it makes it very, very dry in the house. Does numbers on your nose, makes it super dry, bothers my son. So we're gonna fix that problem today. Previously, I used to just put a pot of water on the stove, and but that kind of blocked the airflow. And by the way, this is Elliot from the future, because it's already done, sneak peek. But we're gonna build a giant water container today. It's gonna hold about a gallon of water or so, and get some humidity back in this house. So stick around, let's get to welding and fabricating. I hate trying to use Sharpies on oily steel. It's the worst. This isn't ideal on bigger stuff because I have no idea if that's lining up in there straight. This vise isn't tall enough. Neither is this vise. How are we going to bend this? I wanted to make that bottom piece and the side, front and rear walls out of one piece. Let's just go try it on the press and see what happens. It's probably as good as I'm going to get it. Let's see what happens. That's not ideal. Yeah, so I thought I had my mic on, and apparently I didn't. But remember when I said I should probably just cut that thing? I did. So we gotta clean this up, and now we're gonna tack it at the 90-degree angle. See? It's cut. So we gotta get the sheet steel back out. I just realized I didn't have my mic on. Both of these measurements, this one here, this opening, and this opening are the same, which is good. That means we're on the right track. That means we need to get the sheet steel back out and cut a piece 6 1/4 by 4, 2 of them. And that should make our, you know, our end pieces right there and right there. All right, so this thing is pretty well tacked together, so it shouldn't really move now, so I should be able to do some full welding on it. I want to get this thing fully welded tonight because I'd like to put some water in it tonight to make sure it's watertight, and then that way, you know we don't have to patch any holes, or we do have to patch holes, whatever that may be. So, cue the welding montage. Where am I going to put this? Right there for now. All right, so here's the deal. I don't have my mic on, so I don't know how this audio is going to sound, but basically I'm going to fill this thing up with water and I'm going to let it sit overnight. It's fully welded. I didn't grind any of the welds down yet because I want to make sure it's fully welded and watertight before I do that. So I'm going to fill it with water, let it sit, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, so I water tested this thing overnight, and it had 2 leaks. So I ground everything down, and I fix those spots, and I'm gonna go in the house and water test it again because my water line out here is frozen. All right, so we officially have this thing watertight, the tray. It's done, it's watertight. I ran in the house, filled it up, let it sit for like 15, 20 minutes, and no water came out, so that's a good thing. And, I mean, that's a necessary step. Last thing we have to do, we gotta add some legs because this thing can't sit flat on the stove because we're upside down right now, but the air from the blower comes out right here. So I need to create a gap for that to sit on. And we're just gonna use some 1x1 square tubing. Put like a leg there, like there, like there, like there, something like that. We'll make it a little more official. Do some measuring, but that's essentially what it's gonna look like. All right, those are tacked in there, and we'll weld them. All right, so now that we got the legs welded on, we're just gonna get the whole thing cleaned up, because what we're gonna finish this with is not spray paint. We're actually gonna finish it with stove polish. And not that this needs to be super clean, but we'll make it look a little nicer than this. All right, so now we're on to the last step, and the last step is just finishing it. So what I'm gonna be using is this stove polish. This is actually what I use on my stove. I don't know how it's going to interact with the water. Obviously, it's made to be on the outside of a stove. I'm going to coat the outside, but I'm going to coat the water trough as well. I don't know if this will repel the water enough that it won't get to the steel and rust it, but I guess time will tell. That being said, it's already end of February. February? It's the end of February. And if I gotta sandblast this thing, you know, come May and then finish it with high temp paint, that's what I'll do. But for the time being, let's use stove polish. If you don't know how this goes on, you basically just grab like a rag and wax on, wax off. It's a wax. I probably should have cleaned this off first, but I didn't. I will tell you, the first time this gets warm, this wax, when you first put it on there, it stinks. So I only polish my stove in the summertime when I can light a fire and open the windows. So we're gonna preheat this thing in here, and we might actually put a second coat on it, so we'll see what that looks like. See that smoke coming off of it? That stinks. Although the box says it's non-toxic. All right, I'm gonna let this cool down for like 5 minutes, and we're gonna put another coat of the stove polish on it, and we'll heat it again. But yeah, we'll just let this cool down and let it degas, I guess, for a lack of better terms. Still a little hot. All right, I gotta wait a little longer. It's just like taking off the wax that I've already put on because it's still too hot. All right, I am way too impatient to sit here and wait for it to cool. So we'll just slap it on there. I'm under the impression that more is better. I'm not a professional with this stuff. So if I'm doing something wrong, well, let me know. All right, I think we're just gonna heat it up one time, get it all burnt off, and then we'll take it in the house. How cool is that? I don't know what's all over my table. That's probably as hot as it needs to be, so yeah. I'm gonna finish that now probably warm beer, and we'll wait for this thing to cool. Let's see how warm it is. It's not bad. Wait for it to cool and then we'll go take it inside. Out with the old. Oh, you put the thermometer back up there? Ow! That's super hot. Hold on. All right, now we're in with the new. Oh, it fits like a glove. Look at that. Probably should wait for that water to dry off. I threw it in the snow to cool it down a little bit, so we'll wait for that water to dry off and then we'll get you the money shots. Oh, all right, we're dry now. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that wax finish, but yeah, we got that gap for the air to blow out, and we can fill it up with water now. So now the question is, how much does it hold? So I guess I'll fill it up and we'll find out. This is still really hot. But I'm gonna put the thermostat on the front of this thing, and then that'll give us like a water temp kind of idea. So we'll slap that right on there. It's not straight. There, that's somewhat straight. That should give us a pretty good water temp. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's all we're gonna do, 5. That pretty much fills it up to the brim. So this is a 30-ounce tumbler here, so everybody knows 5 times 30 is 150. I don't know how many ounces are in a gallon. How many? She's yelling at from the other room. She's 128. So a gallon and a quarter, roughly. That's what it holds. I'm pretty happy with that. Looks cool too. So I'm gonna let that heat up for a little bit and we'll see what it gets to on a temperature. We'll leave it on there for, I don't know, 20 minutes. It probably should be up to temp in 20, 30 minutes. Right now, it's reading at about 105, which I know is probably not true. It's probably just still falling. All right, so it's been about an hour and this water temp is up to probably about, oh, I don't know, 180 degrees. Water boils at 212 degrees, I think. So that's a really good temp. We're gonna get some nice fumes or steam off of that. And it'll put some humidity back in. So guys, thanks for watching this one. This was an A+ modification to the house. Hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you on the next one.